Every struggle you've ever had with forcing outcomes traces back to one misunderstanding, an error so old it predates every self-help book, every motivation seminar, every modern teaching on success. The ancient Egyptians identified it thousands of years ago and built an entire civilization around its correction. You've been working against the current of reality itself, and by the end of this, you'll understand exactly how to stop. The Egyptians had a word for the invisible order behind everything visible: Maat. It wasn't just a concept, it was a goddess, a principle, and a cosmic law woven into the same breath. Maat represented truth, justice, balance, and the harmonious order that held the universe together. Every pharaoh ruled in the name of Maat. Every judge weighed decisions against Maat. Every person who wanted to pass through the afterlife had their heart weighed against the feather of Maat on a scale held by Anubis. If your heart was heavier than that feather, heavy with disorder, deception, resistance to the natural flow, you were devoured, gone. Think about that image for a moment. Your heart on one side, a feather on the other. The entire measure of your life reduced to a single question: did you live in alignment, or did you fight against the grain of existence? The Hermetic tradition, rooted in the teachings attributed to Hermes Trismegistus, a figure the Egyptians themselves revered as Thoth, the god of wisdom, carries the same essential message through a different door. The Kybalion outlines 7 principles governing all of reality: mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. Every one of these principles describes a pattern already in motion, already operating, already shaping your experience whether you acknowledge it or not. And here's where these 2 ancient streams converge into something you can use right now, today, in your actual life. Maat teaches that the universe has an order. The Hermetic principles describe what that order looks like in practice. When you align with both, something shifts. The effort drains out of your actions. Results begin arriving with a quality that feels almost suspicious. Too smooth, too well-timed, too perfectly arranged. You've probably tasted this, a day when everything clicked, when conversations flowed into opportunities, when the right person appeared at the exact right moment, when your decisions felt guided by something larger than your conscious mind. That wasn't luck, that was alignment. Brief, accidental, but real. The question is how to make it deliberate. Start with the Hermetic principle of correspondence. As above, so below. As within, so without. Your external world mirrors your internal state with uncomfortable precision. The Egyptians understood this instinctively. The pharaoh's inner alignment with Maat was believed to directly affect the flooding of the Nile, the harvest, the stability of the entire kingdom. One person's inner disorder could ripple outward into collective chaos. Modern minds dismiss this as superstition, but sit with your own experience for a moment. Remember the last time you were internally conflicted about a decision, divided against yourself, saying yes while feeling no. How did that situation unfold externally? Probably with friction, confusion, mixed signals from everyone around you. Your outer world stuttered because your inner world was stuttering first. Correspondence means your first work is always internal. Always. You don't fix the reflection by touching the mirror. Now layer in the principle of vibration. Everything moves. Everything vibrates. The Kybalion states that the difference between matter, energy, and spirit is simply the rate of vibration. Maat, as cosmic order, represents the fundamental vibration of the universe itself, the base frequency everything naturally wants to return to, the way a tuning fork pulls nearby strings into resonance. When your personal vibration matches that base frequency, you stop generating friction. You stop pushing against doors that were designed to open inward. You stop exhausting yourself trying to manufacture results that would arrive on their own if you'd simply get out of the way. But getting out of the way is the hardest spiritual discipline there is. Harder than meditation. Harder than fasting. Harder than any physical practice. Because getting out of the way means surrendering the illusion that your anxious mental activity is what produces results. It means trusting the order underneath. Maat, even when your eyes show you chaos. The Egyptians had a practice for this. They called it living in Maat. It meant conducting yourself with truth in speech, justice in action, and balance in thought, every single day. These weren't abstract ideals. They were practical instructions for alignment. Tell the truth, and you stop creating the internal dissonance that scrambles your vibration. Act justly, and you stop generating the karmic friction that slows your progress. Think with balance, and you stop oscillating between desperate hope and crushing doubt, the two states that block manifestation more effectively than any external obstacle ever could. The Hermetic principle of rhythm reinforces this. Everything flows in and out. Everything has its tides. Seasons of expansion follow seasons of contraction as surely as summer follows winter. The person who understands rhythm stops panicking during the inward tide. You felt this panic, that gut-clenching moment when momentum seems to stall, when progress reverses, when the thing you were building appears to crumble. Most people abandon their vision at exactly this point. They interpret the natural rhythm of the universe as a personal rejection. Maat would say otherwise. The withdrawal is part of the order. The pause between heartbeats isn't death, it's the gathering of force for the next beat. Every Egyptian farmer understood this. The Nile flooded and receded. You planted after the recession in the fertile mud the flood left behind. The recession was the gift, the apparent loss was the preparation. So when your manifestation seems to stall, when the thing you've been holding in consciousness appears to move further away rather than closer, consider the possibility that you're standing in the recession. The fertile ground is forming beneath your feet. Your only job is to stay aligned, keep your vibration steady, keep your speech true, keep your assumptions rooted in the end result, and wait for the planting season that always follows. Now, a genuine challenge within this framework deserves attention. If everything is ordered, if Maat governs all, what about genuine suffering? What about the moments that feel cosmically unfair? The Hermetic tradition addresses this through the principle of polarity. Everything has its opposite, and opposites are identical in nature, differing only in degree. Hot and cold are the same thing, emotional intensity. The suffering you experience and the breakthrough you're moving toward exist on the same spectrum. They're made of the same substance. The degree shifts when your alignment shifts. The Egyptians depicted this with breathtaking visual clarity. In the Hall of Maat, 42 assessors watched the weighing of the heart. 42. Each one represented a specific form of disorder the deceased had to deny. I have not stolen. I have not caused suffering. I have not polluted the water. These weren't moral rules imposed from outside. They were descriptions of what misalignment looks like in practice. Each denial was a declaration of correspondence. My inner state produced these outer conditions, and I kept them clean. You can perform your own version of this assessment right now. Where in your life are you generating disorder? Where are you saying one thing and doing another? Where are you holding resentment that poisons your vibration while you simultaneously try to manifest abundance? The universe doesn't respond to your words. It responds to your frequency. And frequency is determined by the totality of your inner state. Every hidden grudge, every unacknowledged fear, every assumption running beneath your conscious awareness. This is why Maat was depicted as a feather. The lightest thing imaginable. The standard for your heart wasn't perfection, it was lightness. Freedom from the weight of inner conflict. The person whose heart matches the feather has released the heavy stories, the dense grievances, the leaden certainties about what they deserve or don't deserve. They've made themselves light enough to move with the current instead of against it. The Hermetic teaching of cause and effect, every cause has its effect, every effect has its cause, takes on new meaning through this lens. Most people live entirely at the level of effects. They react to circumstances, respond to conditions, scramble to manage outcomes. The person aligned with Maat operates at the level of cause. They understand that their inner state is the cause, and outer circumstances are the effect. Always, without exception, shift the cause and the effect must follow. The universe has no mechanism for producing a different outcome once the inner cause has genuinely changed. It would violate its own order. It would violate Maat. This is why Neville Goddard, a teacher deeply influenced by Hermetic thought, insisted that assumption is the creative act. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you're aligning your vibration with the outcome. You're matching your heart to the feather. You're stepping into the current of Maat and letting it carry you. The effort disappears because you're moving with the fundamental order of reality rather than trying to construct your own competing order through willpower and anxiety. The discipline required is real and daily. Living in Maat means monitoring your inner world with the same attention an Egyptian priest gave to the stars. It means catching yourself mid-assumption when you slip into fear and gently returning to the state of the wish fulfilled. It means speaking about your life as though the alignment is already complete, even when visible evidence suggests otherwise. It means treating the recession of the Nile as fertile preparation rather than cosmic punishment. 4,000 years ago, an entire civilization organized itself around a single feather. They built temples to it, wrote hymns about it, structured their laws around it, and staked their afterlife on it. That feather represented the weight of universal order, so light it barely registers, so powerful it governs everything that exists. Your heart is on the scale right now. Every thought adds weight or removes it. Every assumption tilts the balance. The ancient teaching and the Hermetic principle converge on one instruction: become light enough to move with what already wants to carry you. The current was flowing before you were born. It will flow long after. Your breakthrough was never about adding force. It was about releasing the weight that kept you standing still.